Good morning and welcome back to my channel. You get what you pay for with Robert Brown. Happy 4th of July, everybody. It's beautiful outside, so I took my camera. I'm sitting on a picnic table outside in the sun. You can hear the rooster crowing behind me. It's about 9:15 a.m. and I wanted to show you something that I got to celebrate 4th of July. So, as you know, or if you don't know, this is my latest acquisition. This is the Guardian Tactical Recon 035 Generation 2 drop point, and it has a very, very thick 3.8 millimeter blade stock there in MAGNACUT with aluminum handle and this amazingly designed switch. So if you've been watching my videos, I did a few videos on this one, but I wanted to find competition for this at the price point or better. So the price point of this knife here is approximately $300, which is, although it's a beautiful knife, it still might be, you know, a bit too much for some people. And I was like, well, what other knife is available, made in the United States, that is less than $300? I only came up with one company, and that company is what I'm going to show you today. That is this Axial. That's their cool logo. Reminds me of my Scottish, Irish, Celtic knot style. It's very Celtic. On this Topo slide sleeve and Topo box. Look at that. It's a really cool box. Very cool. This is my first Axial and probably not my last. Off of the sleeve, and it's got this like double door here. Nice. And that's what it looks like inside. You got the Celtic knot logo over there, and then you have that pull-out tab there, and then you have inspected by with a little signature right there, and you have your pull-out. There they are, Springville, Utah. Happy Independence Day, everybody. Made in the United States, celebrating today and the rest of the year with you guys, and getting this really cool knife as a user. They tote that is a user. It's not for the shelf or the just hang out in the pocket and not use. I'm just showing you there. See, it says MAGNACUT and 7000 series aluminum handle. What else says? Performance built in the USA. Let's look at the knife, guys. Here it is in the box, countersunk in that foam. There you go. And it's got a made in USA sticker right there. Nice. Put the box away. And here you go. Here's the knife. It is quite beautiful. Now, remember what I was talking about. Sub $300 was my goal. This thing comes in at $250. This does look like it's titanium. I'm not sure. I could not find out in the literature if that was titanium, but it looks like the hardware is titanium. It looks like the switch is titanium, and I know that deep carry, look at that, deep carry titanium reversible pocket clip That's right. It's got an inset in there with 2 screws. And the only thing that I was wondering about is you can see those screws are not countersunk in there. And my first question was like, is that plate just upside down and the counters are on the other side? But then I looked at some more photos and I did see that across the board, those are sticking up like that. Kind of wonder why they didn't countersink them in there to make that flush. But also I did notice when you go to reach for the knife, you can pull it out and you can use that as a little grip when you're pulling it out of your pocket. Anyway, let's fire this bad boy open. That's right, I had to get the Warnie. The Warncliffe, baby. I think that's one of the most useful blades out there aside from the good old drop point. Now, these 2 knives, oh, they're going to be doing battle for my pocket's attention. They are, man. This has been in my pocket, this Guardian Tactical, since I got it, and I love it, and I can't say enough about it. I've already maybe even got a couple people like hooked on it and wanting one for themselves just from handling this one. Back to this. Here it is in all its glory. We have that satin or matte finish down there, and then we have you can see that the top of the blade, 2-tone, it's beautiful, and the cool swedge on top, that's really neat looking, and this devastatingly precise tip for doing all kinds of precision cutting. Look at the beef on that thing. So this blade stock on here is a little thinner than the blade stock on the Guardian Tactical. Guardian Tactical happens to be, look at that, 3.8 millimeters right there. This one here, I'll pop this out again. It's close. What's my guess? I don't know. I'll have to refer to my notes. You guys want to know? I want to know. 3.05 millimeters. So just over 3 millimeters blade stock here. And we have 3.8 on the Guardian Tactical. Now, you're wondering which one I like better. I know you're asking that question. Which one does he like better? Well, this one here I've had in my pocket, and I like it a lot. I've been using it as my EDC, and like I said, have been showing it to many people and putting it in their hands, and they are just amazed. And one of the first things they ask is, how much is it? And when I say $300, they kind of cringe a little bit, but they also go, if they know OTFs, they go, well, it's not a Microtech. 500. Everybody thinks Microtechs are $500 knives. They're not. The zero blade play Microtechs are about $380, $350. So you can get the new Ultratech Microtech zero blade play for about $350 to $379. So the reason that I did not get a Microtech and I got this to celebrate Independence Day, it says right there, MAGNACUT, that's pretty cool. I got this because I already have a Microtech. I have this beautiful Glycon in the M390 That's Bowler M390 steel, and that keeps an edge and stays sharp. And this is the apocalyptic finish on this baby. Titanium up here, aluminum down there, titanium. It's just a bit big for an EDC carry knife. I'll show you the size now. So you can clearly see how big that one is. This one's a little bit bigger than this one. So let's take the Glycon out of the way and take the Recon out of the way, and let's look at some details on this. So this jimping on here is really fantastic, and it really is grippy. It really works well. This is not a gas station knife. This is far superior to any OTFs that most people have ever handled, because most people just get a cheap one because they don't want to spend a lot of money on something like this. But knife collectors and people that are in the market for an American-made OTF knife with a very useful blade shape, meaning you can just use this all day long for all kinds of different utilitarian things. The knife is not too big, it's not too heavy, it sits in the pocket. You can see it is super narrow and very thin, like feeling like in your hand. Not bulky at all, not bulky in the pocket, and this pocket clip works really well. Other cool thing is this glide. What is it called? It's called bearing glide. Bearing glide, those are raised, like you can see them, they're raised bumps right there, and then they go into like 2 channels inside the switch. And this surface running underneath this switch gives you a very smooth action. Now, the other question you're asking yourself, which one is easier to push? Which button is easier to push? You're wondering, right? This one, the Guardian Tactical, or the Axial Gen 3 Shift? Well, I'm going to tell you, I got pretty strong thumbs, but let's look at some key differences here. You can see that the way that those buttons are designed, switches are designed, that the jimping on this one is very aggressive and has this kind of piled up stack for the retraction of the blade, and then it's kind of got this push ramp for the deploy of the blade, where this one here has just got a ramp on both sides of equal distance and shape. And let's look at something else here. The way your thumb hits the switch, the Guardian Tactical is wider, and it is just a better landing pad for my thumb. But you're asking yourself, which one actually is easier to push, right? Actually, it's the Guardian Tactical. It takes less effort to push that out than it does this Axial. This switch right here is running on, you can see that polished metal steel plate right there. That plate is totally replaceable, but it's never really going to wear out because underneath the switch, there are 3 ceramic balls, and those balls are what rolling back and forth on that surface up there. So you have 3 ceramic balls all evenly dispersing pressure across the big thumbprint here. It's just easier. So if someone's looking for a reason, why would you get the Guardian Tactical at $300 over this other United States made $250 Axial? Well, number one, since I've owned this and I've been using it for quite some time, I'm going to honestly say that I like the ergonomics on it. I like the blade shape, and I like pretty much everything about it, right down to the pocket clip design. This one is totally new to me, but pulling it right out of the box and having the instant compare, because you've had one in your pocket for so long, and then you can just put this in your hand and you're like, what's the difference? And that's the difference. The narrowness of the switch, the shape of the switch, the actual pressure. And the pressure is, it's all smooth right here, and then right at the end, right before it deploys the blade, it gets a little tough. This one seems to get easier right at the end. Does not finish right there. It does not finish with a hard push. Now let's talk about sounds. You can hear that has kind of an echo, and it has like kind of a tinny wow. The Guardian Tactical doesn't bother me at all, but the difference between, I'm going to put this one up to the mic, the Axial, it's more of a solid clack in your hand, and it just feels more luxury, I gotta say. So the feeling of this one that is less money, it feels higher end than this one. But the button on this one works and is smoother, a bit smoother than the Axial. So let's talk about size and overall between these two. So the overall length of the Axial is 8.25, and the overall length of the Guardian Tactical is 7.88. So it's close. This is just a little shorter overall length than the Axial. The Axial close length is 4.75 inches, and the close length or handle length is 4.5. So 0.25 inches difference on the handle. The blade length on the Axial is 3.4 inches compared to the blade length of 3.41. So 3.4, 3.41. We're 0.1 longer on, yeah, I guess we are, right? We're 0.1 longer on the Guardian Tactical. Let's see where that, yeah, I see it. You see it very, very slight. I'm just putting, so I'm going to put the knives right up to this square here. The handles, right, I'm looking right above them. You guys really can't see right down in here, but I can. I know there's a shadow there, but just to show you here, this axial is just underneath these dots, this line of dots, where the Recon is past the dots. There you go. So the blade length is longer on the Guardian than it is on the axial. But the overall length on the whole axial is longer than the Guardian Tactical. Pretty interesting combination if you think about it. We got longer handle, shorter blade, longer blade, shorter handle. Which do you prefer? Which do I prefer? You know, after having this one in my hand for the past, I'd say almost about a month, maybe a month, I'm liking that length. This one here is definitely a bit more cumbersome, not in a bad way, just longer feeling in the hand. This one kind of tucks right in there. You can see my hand there, one sticking out. Rooster crowing in the background for you guys. Just showing you what it looks like in my hand. And then the Guardian Tactical. See that? It's kind of just, so then the Guardian Tactical has these finger grooves with some jimping down there in comparison. And this one kind of the whole thing curves a little bit and then comes up to like a rise right there. See that? So it's got some ergonomic coolness to it. You can feel that right in your fingers, this kind of slight bulge there. I love the knife. Which one do I like better? To be honest with you, I'm not going to say which one I like better right now. I'm going to put this one in my pocket and use it for the next month or so, about the equal time that I've used this one. One thing that you can see right away, there's nowhere to put a pull on here, where this one clearly has a place. Reversible pocket clip and place to put a pull. No pull on this one. You could loop something right in here into this hole, but that gets kind of in the way. Alright guys, I showed you 3 amazing tools made in the United States for Independence Day. What a good video. No, just kidding. I hope you liked the video. I think that if you're going to invest any kind of money in some OTF knives, you know, stay away from clones and copies for sure, because they will never ever last. I have a few and I cannot even put a blade edge on a couple of them. They will not get sharp. I don't understand what it is, what kind of metal it is, but it's not the stuff that you make knife blades out of. It just looks cool and it looks awesome, but these are functional, everyday carry. Look at that laser etched American flag right there, and we got the MAGNACUT right there. And I didn't show you on here. It's very, very subtle. You can see it right above my thumb. MAGNACUT. Very subtle. I like that. Alright guys, enjoy today. Don't lose any fingers by blowing them off with fireworks or anything, and don't cut them off with sharp knives. Alright, take care everybody. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy Independence Day. Take care.